I just needed more, like, I needed something to keep me going, keep me motivated. I didn't know how to deal with this at the time. It was a big lifestyle change. I doubted my faith, I did. Hi guys, welcome to Saf Speaks. My name is Stephanie, and here we spread awareness on all things health, faith, and wellness. In today's video, I'm going to be diving into my testimony and basically my spiritual journey with Christ and how that all started. So my family is Catholic. I was raised Catholic and was enrolled into Catholic school from kindergarten actually all the way till 12th grade. I was in two schools, both in the city, both pretty close to where I lived at the time. One was co-ed and one was all girls. I had a taste of both sides, I guess. My involvement in the church was pretty much as holidays would go, Easter, Palm Sunday, things like that. Aside from going to mass on certain days, certain holidays, me and mom would go like on Sundays, but we probably were like a monthly type of family.
So I want to clarify that statement. It was more so when we felt like we needed to go. It wasn't necessarily like a routine thing for us.
Or if there was a relative or someone that we knew who had passed away, we would do what is called an oración. For a certain amount of time in mass, you go, and during the mass, towards the end, they say like a list of names. So it's just something to honor them. That was basically the extent of my relationship with the church. So notice how I'm saying the church and how I'm gonna switch it up later in the video. After primary schooling, I went to college, I went away. I had to mention this. I'm an only child. My mom raised me on her own. Raising a kid in the city on your own, it's tough. Like, I didn't realize this. Not many children do when they're younger, or the other side of the situation. I didn't appreciate at the time all the things my mother did to make sure, I was safe. I had this newfound freedom in college. I had dormed. I moved to Connecticut at 18. So you can already imagine what is going through my mind. There was partying, there was traveling. I was just living life. And I wasn't caring about the next thing. That was, early 20s. I came back home at 22. I had done a year of service. I had moved back home in 2018, and that was also when I got my first salary job. It wasn't really till my diagnosis, which I talked about in my last video right here, just really going into how I was diagnosed with liver failure at such a young age. And 2 years ago was when I got the news, and at first, obviously that's a huge transition in someone's life, so my world had really flipped on its axis. I just needed more, I needed something to keep me going, keep me motivated. I didn't know how to deal with this at the time. It was a big lifestyle change. I doubted my faith, I did, but I knew I needed something more. At the time, I was still doing my own thing. I wasn't really focused on starting that relationship just yet. I wanted to do my research. I knew I wanted to leave the Catholic Church and just find something with more community. I never really felt that community base in the Catholic Church. Also, because living in the city, it's kind of hard to have that one church to go to, and my mom and my family never really were traditionally going, we all go to church together. We were all separated in the city, so we all lived in different areas, and that just wasn't something that we did. With these new circumstances, I was trying to find something. Anyways, sorry, there was a bird. It was really big. I had moved out of my mom's earlier this year. I was living alone for the first time, and this was when I was like, okay, God's been knocking on my door. I really need to open it and keep it open for good. I figured, I was like, okay, the next step into strengthening my relationship is baptism. At the time, the next baptism was in the summer, and this was when I had kind of started thinking about moving forward with this, was in, I would say, late spring. I kind of just had enough. I had I couldn't deal with certain things on my own anymore, and I just knew that I needed something more. I needed to look up, right? Okay guys, so I just wanted to pause here again because I really wanted to be brutally honest with you guys. It wasn't just one day I just like, okay, I'm becoming Christian, like I'm no longer Catholic, it's not working for me. It was definitely over time. And before I even thought of baptism, I went from 2020 and I just jumped to baptism. The last 2 years of my life was just a time where I was really lost. Like after being diagnosed, I was numb to just emotions. I was numb to sadness. I was being verbally abused at the time. I was involved in premarital relationships, and I was just trying to find happiness in other people because I was just so uncomfortable in my own skin. Like I didn't know who I was. I didn't know, my body was changing, my health was declining, and I just didn't know how to cope. I just wasn't loving myself, and it was so obvious. And one day I just was so depressed and so down and like literally crying, kneeling on the floor. I wrote down all of my sins, and like I really just repented on all the things, the evil that was around me, all the darkness that was around me. I finally felt strong enough to ask for help. That was really the turning point, and this was around spring of 2021, and that is when I started going to the new church more frequent. I just had to be I just had to keep it 100 with you guys. So back to the video. Right. I was already going to a new church, which I almost forgot to mention. I was going to a new church, an Adventist church in the Upper East Side. I was going frequently. During the pandemic, they did have all their sermons online. It was really connecting, and they had activities. I was meeting people from the church, and we were like meeting up in small groups. So I never had that experience, and I was just really taken by that. So that was really what kind of helped me there, even during the pandemic when we couldn't really go anywhere. So I made that decision in the summertime that I was gonna get baptized. And then come like the few days before baptism, this was around August of 2021, I had cold feet and I was like, I'm not ready. Like, no, I can't do it. I talked to the pastor, who was a new pastor. We just like clicked so fast. She's younger, she's black, she's a woman. I talked to her and I told her that I don't think I'm ready. I think I need a little bit more time. And she was like, it's fine. She literally says girl. She's like, girl, it's okay. Like we did a prayer. And she kind of really brought me down back to reality, because I was floating. The time came for the next baptism. It was for actually Halloween weekend. So that was an interesting time, and we can talk about that another time. But at that moment, that felt right. So I've been baptized Seventh-day Adventist for about 3 months now. That's why I'm really emphasizing that this is a journey. I don't want to keep saying that I'm new into this, because I've always known about Jesus, but I'm just now really like getting to know him, and now it's become a more like fluid relationship. It just brings a lot of excitement because there's so much to learn. But for now, guys, this was my testimony, and I really hope you guys got something out of it. And subscribe if you are also new into this journey with Christ. Watch out for my next videos, and I'll see you soon.